Hi, I'm Doug McKinlay, and you're watching Adorama TV. For today's segment, we're going to look at filters. I know we've touched on them in the past, but today we'll look at them in a little more detail. Why use them, when to use them, and how they work.
Adorama TV presents Stay Focused with Doug McKinlay.
So the filters we're going to look at today are made by Lee Filters from the UK. Now, I've used Lee filters for a number of years now, and I've always found them to be very consistent and very reliable. And when I'm in the field, that's all I really need. Now, there are other manufacturers who are probably just as good, but I like Lee. Now, the system we're going to use is the 100mm system, consisting of standard neutral density filters and graduated neutral density filters. Now, there's a whole series of these filters, colored filters, etc., but I prefer just the standard and the grads. Now, the standards are a series of filters that look like opaque glass. It's photographic glass. They come in different stops, from a 1 stop, 2 stops, 6 stops, and 10 stops. Now, I'm not sure you can see this, but that's a 2-stop one, and this one is a 10-stop one. Now, one's really dark and one's not quite so dark. They both produce different effects on your images. The graduated filters are the filters where the top half is darker than the bottom half. Now, this is really great for us evening out light in landscapes. This one's a hard grad and this one's a soft grad. Now, the difference is the hard grad, the delineation line between the clear and the dark is much cleaner, whereas the soft grad is much more kind of, well, soft. It makes, again, they make a different effect on your images. Because we're going to use a fairly heavy-duty ND standard filter, probably a 6 or 10 stop, not quite sure yet. We'll figure that out in a second or two. There's a couple of housekeeping things we have to think about. Now, first, good sturdy tripod. Cannot do this stuff without one. And on your camera body itself, we want to have everything set to manual to begin with. We want to have the driver set at a 2-second or 10-second release, and we need the mirror locked up. This just helps to mitigate any kind of problems with the camera shake. Now, once we've got all that set up and we've got our composition in place, then we're going to look to start putting on our filters. Now, with the Lee system, the 100mm system comes with this little bracket here. Now, it has a ring. This ring can be, you can buy different sizes of this ring for different sizes of lenses. This is a 77mm one. It just slides onto the front of the lens. So once that's screwed in place, then you take the bracket or with the guidelines on it, and you slide that on there, guide rails, sorry. And this thing turns, which is really great when you're using the grad filters, so you can turn them from different directions. So what we've chosen is we're gonna use the 6-stop filter. Now, it's giving me a 1-second exposure reading when I look through the lens set in manual still. Once we got our reading, you have to remember that, because we're gonna turn the shooting mode to bulb, because we're gonna have a long exposure. So we're gonna need a cable release with a locking mechanism on it. These are quite cheap. I prefer to use the ones that are directly attached to the camera because I find them a little more reliable than the radio controlled ones. So we're all set to go. We're gonna grab our filter, which is this Lee 6-stop filter. Now, this one has got a gasket around the outside, so it helps to stop any kind of light leakage. This goes into the closest guide rail to the lens, just slides in, make sure it's covering the whole opening so you get no light leakage in there. As I said, once you're ready to go, we switch the camera back to bulb. On the shooting modes, make sure the lens is turned to manual, because the lens cannot see through this filter. And once you're set, a 1-second reading. Once you put the filter on, according to the Lee cheat sheet, 1 second gives me a 1-minute exposure. So you're set in bulb, push the lock button, and you're good to go. You wait for your minute, unlock it, and you've got your image. Now, with your landscape images, the big stopper or the little stopper work really well with your graduated filters, and they slide into the front guide rail thusly. Now, I would advise putting the graduated filters in first, so you can see actually where it's going to work, then slide the big stopper or little stopper in behind. Now the F numbers, I keep this at about F11 at the most, because once you start getting up to F16, F22, you start getting a diffraction problem, meaning your pictures will not be as sharp as you expect. There's a lot of math involved, so we're not going to get into it, but just remember, as your apertures get smaller, the diffraction problem becomes more pronounced. So once we've got our grad ND in here, we can move this around, depending which way the light's falling. And you just have to look through the back of the camera or through live view, and you'll see where it's going. Another top tip is with your eyepiece, with the long exposures, you are going to get some light leakage through there onto your sensor unless you cover it up. So take the cover off, simple, stick it in your pocket so you don't lose it. And then the back of the camera strap, they put this little cover on there, and it's pretty straightforward. You just slide it on in front of the eyepiece like this, and you're ready to go. So in a nutshell, how neutral density filters work is they cut out the amount of light coming through the filter, through the lens and onto your sensor. Now by doing this, it allows you to open your shutter up longer than you normally would be able to. Therefore, you can get those really great sort of milky scenes with water moving in your landscapes. Stick a graduated filter on top of that and you're going to get a nice, really nice effect. They work really well in tandem. Now, using a neutral density filter with your portraiture is also a really good tool, because on a sunny day, it might be too bright to get a wide open aperture to get that blur behind your subject. Add a neutral density filter, and the whole thing changes. You can open up that aperture now, and keeping that shutter speed still fast enough to freeze your subject. But you open up the aperture up, and you get that nice blur behind. So that's it for me. I'm Doug McKinlay. Don't forget to subscribe to Adorama TV for more great videos. You can like, comment, and share in this video. And please come by the Adorama Learning Center for more great tips and tricks. Now, I've been talking about the way I work. I'd sure like to see how you guys work. So if you've got another way of doing this stuff, please send it in.
Do you want great looking prints at low cost? Be sure to visit our easy to use online printing service. Adorama Pix has professionals who treat your images with the utmost care that you can count on. For a quick turnaround on photos, cards, or albums, use AdoramaPix.com.